Hello, welcome back to the code refactoring series. And if you relate yourself to any one of the point on a screen, please feel free to skip this video. I respect your time and you should save it. Okay. And if you decided to stay, let me tell you what we are going to do at today's session. So first, we will take a look at the code base and then we will try to find out if there are any problems. And if we find some problem, we will try to figure out how we can fix them. Okay, so let's just start. Okay, so in this package, these are the classes I've already opened here. So I'll start with patient class. So this is a plain patient Pojo. This is a field name. This is health condition, age, and last checkup date, and plain getter setters. And there is a method is due for checkup. Okay, now I'll show you this other class, checkup scheduler. So what this is doing, it is checking whether a patient is due for checkup or not. Okay, and if it is, so it try to schedule it. And here it is checking is using patient object to check whether it is due for checkup or not, right? So is there any problem here? We will talk more about it later, but don't you think patient should not know whether he or she is due for checkup, right? There is a system to manage this. So I guess instead of patient knowing it, system should know it, right? Okay, let's move to this another class here, patient eligibility checker. So it checks whether the patient is eligible for senior care or for youth programs. Here, patient age is fetched and then a comparison is done. If age is greater than around 65, then yes, patient is eligible for senior care, right? But don't you think if this number changes or this number changes, this class needs to be changed, right? Whether patient is a senior citizen or not, it is more related to the patient's age, right? And again, this eligibility checker, it is trying to access the patient's personal information, which is also not right. Right? Nobody wants to share his or her age. It's a sensitive data. So this is one problem that there are more than one reason for this class to change, and it is not. This is breaking encapsulation, right? Accessing this age and then comparing it here. So I think something should be inside the patient class to take care of it. Let's move to this another class here. So we are trying to generate the summary, and again, what we are doing, we are fetching the patient details, age, health condition, and everything, and then we are doing some formatting around. This formatting may change in future. For example, if someone in the hospital or organization decides that okay, now we should type this name in this particular format, or we should prefix something, suffix something, right? So this class needs to change in that case. This is the risk assessor class here. Okay, so this class assess the risk for a patient, right? Patient. And what we are doing, again, we are accessing the age. So if this criteria changes, this class will change, this class will change, right? And what it is doing here, it is doing a check on health condition basically. So let's say if this name of this state changes, or maybe somebody start using it in capital, anything. So this is also one of the reason to change, right? So problem is one thing, cohesion. So there are few things which are more closely related to patient. For example, age, right? A risk assessor should not access the personal information. So this is one problem. Encapsulation, of course, yes, and it is breaking the single responsibility principle. There are many reasons for this method to change. Anything changes here, it's gone. Anything changes here, this is also gone. So, what do you think? What should be the solution? Uh, maybe we extract out a utility and put all this logic somewhere in a separate class. But after a certain period of time, all these utility classes they become a junkyard. Any method which you do not know to which class it belongs, we simply dump it. Right? Is there any other way to fix it? Yes, there can be multiple ways, but I'll talk about one and let's see how it goes. So first take a look at the patient class here. Okay. So now it is not a string, it is promoted as a object. Same happens with health condition, age, and checkup history. And now this class looks very simple. Only getters and setters. And what happened to other classes and what happened to the methods which were present inside this class? Let's see. Okay, so let's start with age. So now age is a dedicated business object. It is integer value defined here, getter setters, and see whether a patient is senior citizen or not. That is uh, evaluated using age. So this belongs here. And if it is youth or not, is mid-age or not. So anything which is related to age now is encapsulated by age class. Now no one needs to access someone's age. If they want to access age and then figure out something, now they need not to do it. They can directly ask the age class whether whether the patient is youth, mid-age, or senior. And this is a plain to string method here. When you ask the age, maybe for printing or something like that, so it has already appended years to it. Now move to the checkup history class. So in this checkup history class, this private last checkup date is moved here. Previously it was inside the patient class. And now if you see this, these two are the getter setters, and this is due for checkup class. This was part of patient class here. If I show you this patient class here, it had this method is due for checkup, right? So now it is moved here. So this system should know whether the patient is due for checkup. Patient should not know, right? I mean, patient might be in a state to tell it or not. Try to think what happens in the real world, right? Patients can forget, right? But system should not forget. So system should have such type of methods. Now I'll move to the checkup scheduler class here and see here. If you see now this checkup scheduler, it simply calls this method and it gets the checkup history. And with the checkup history itself, it can figure out whether the patient is due for checkup or not, right? So it is not having any complex logic. Before this, I'll show you the checkup scheduler, how it used to look. Okay, so it was asking the patient whether it is due for checkup, right? Now, what it is doing, it is looking for the patient's checkup history, right? So you can ask a patient if you try to correlate to the real world. So you can request for the patient's checkup history. It makes sense. And that's how it makes sense it to be this way. Health condition, this is the class, what we have done here, health condition. So getter setters, and yes, now whether the patient is chronic or not, uh, now no need to get this string and then evaluate. Health condition object should tell whether the patient is healthy or not, or chronic or not, right? So this check is moved here. I'll tell you the name class. So name class can have first name, last name. It can have different combination of method with salutation, with just the first name, with last name, or you can do anything with these two fields, right? Next class is, of course, patient class, which we have already seen. And yes, this patient eligibility checker. So what was happening in the patient eligibility checker earlier, if I show you, we were trying to access the age and then checking it. So there were problems in this class, but now it is very simple and problems are solved. So for example, now this class is able to decide whether the person is senior or not, or person is youth or not, without directly doing any manipulation over the age, right? That criteria whether the person's age is greater than 65 or not, now that is not uh, the scope of this class, right? So this method will take care of it. Anything related to age can be taken care by this. Now move to the next class here. So this was a very simple class. There were no major problems in it, but yes, by accessing these fields, it gives us a lot of flexibility. So previously what was happening when we were doing patient.getName, it was giving me a string. But now this is for everything there is an object, right? And you can update the toString methods of that, or you can put more logic around that. So it will simplify in that sense. Now, maybe the last class, assess risk. So here also, it's not doing any manipulation over age. It simply get the age and it simply just check whether the patient is senior or not, getting the health condition, whether the patient is in chronic state or not, right? It give you enough idea that wherever it is possible, you should try to promote these fields as full-fledged business objects, and then put the methods inside these dedicated objects. Let me open this one. Okay, so put methods inside these classes, right? Age have a lot of methods inside it. If I show you again, right? So age have these methods here, right? Same way, health condition also have necessary methods there, and checkup history, right? Checkup history also have the necessary methods here. So now the code is where uh, it belongs. It's not scattered, and classes are better structured. Classes are following much better single responsibility principle, much better encapsulation, right? So when we feel that the fields are, are being used at multiple places, for example here, so we realize that this age is being used at different places, right? And then we were writing a lot of logic around age, so it's a sign that now you should promote this as a dedicated business object. So basically, pro tip here is that you should promote class level fields as full-fledged business objects. Whenever you see that these are being used at a lot of places, do it. Move the methods, you will save a lot of utility classes, and code will look more cleaner and better structured, better following the object-oriented principles. I'm Arun. If you have any queries, please leave the comment. Feel free to ask your queries, and happy coding.